Hello everybody, it's your Star Wars nerd, and today we will be reviewing the Black Series Commander Cody. Now, this figure is very screen accurate because this is the Revenge of the Sith version. While yes, he is in things like Clone Wars and the Bad Batch, except in the Bad Batch is his Gray Imperial scheme. But no, this is the version based off the Clone Wars, and it comes with a DC-15A and a DC-15A blaster rifle that I do not have at the moment. It's in my storage box of all my other miscellaneous parts. Now, let's get on to it. Commander Cody was, as I believe all of us know, the second in command of the 212th Clone Attack Battalion, along with General Kenobi, Obi-Wan Kenobi. He was known for his bravery. He was one of the most high-ranked clones in the Galactic Republic. But let's talk about the figure first, shall we? I'm going to take that blaster off. So, let's talk about articulation. Now, this figure, as I found, is a bit stiff. Okay, his arms, they don't come in to his sides the best. This is as far as they go, and it leaves him with that weird, awkward positioning. His legs, this is him flat-footed. If you want to stand him up like that, the backpack that he has on does kind of uneven the weight distribution, I guess you could say. And so if we want to stand him up flat-footed like that, he'll just fall over. But all things aside, you do have to tweak with the balance a bit to get him to stand up. But, I mean, if you just spend a little time wrestling with him, then he can pose in almost any position. Black Series is really good about how posable their figures are. Like, look at this, his chest moves around, has a joint under here. His arms, they move just fine. They can't move backwards, obviously, because not real arms can do that. His head does move around up and down just fine, and you gotta force it a bit more, which I like, to go left and right so it doesn't just fling off in every which direction. His legs, they're a bit stiff. His feet do move. Of course, all my figures are a bit stiff since they're practically out of the box. I don't mess with them much. He's very, very screen accurate to Revenge of the Sith. Whenever we see him in the Battle of Utapau and the scene where Kenobi's in the hangar in his Jedi Starfighter and Commander Cody's like, whoa, when did I ever disappoint you? Kenobi's like, got me there. I believe I bought this figure for $25. It has been a bit, so memory's a tad bit foggy. But it's really a great price. Of course, this is whenever it's new. I do believe that it is now much more expensive because he's one of the main clones in all of Star Wars. He's such a sought-after figure because I believe he's Black Series only named 212th Trooper. Now, they do have just regular 212th grunts, but, like, there's no Boyle, Waxer, Longshot, and 212th Troopers that are named like that. I believe we only have Commander Cody. I will say about this figure, while yes, the balance isn't great, the detail is measurable. Like, you can see that, all that little wiring by itself, all of the paint chips on his armor. However, even with being all this scruffed, like the scratch marks right here, even with being all this scruffed and things like that, the figure itself is still not bad looking figure. I mean, what I mean by that is the figure does not look like you've just dragged it behind a four-wheeler through the mud and trenches. It's still a very clean figure. It doesn't have all that battle mud damage. It's not black washed or anything like that. Now, a thing that is not as common as I think it should be within Black Series clone figures is that the helmets are not removable. I only have 3 clones they come with removable helmets, those being Rex, Echo, and Wolfie, which means Cody, he does not. If we can look under here, I don't know if you guys can, I do not see a head sculpt. Now, With other clones, there is actually a head sculpt under this helmet. It's just glued on. But with Cody here, he does not have one, so you can't just use some warm water, pop the helmet off, paint the head, and then boom, you have even more versatile Cody. But as the leader of the 212th, like I said earlier, very sought after. I doubt you'll find him in any stores. If you do, lucky you, rare haul. I did not find him in a store. I ordered him off of Amazon. That was back whenever Black Series still releasing. I don't know if they've pretty much retired this figure yet or not, but I do know that he is expensive nowadays. Most of my clones are. I bought them a while back, so of course the price is cheaper then. And he's probably more expensive now since I bought him pre-Season 2 Bad Batch, and after I got the episode with him and Crosshair going to the Separatist Holdout, I would be willing to guarantee that shot up his price by maybe $3 to $4, just because we got more of him. Figures like Anakin, who's the main series, very expensive, main character of all Star Wars, very expensive figures, just because you are the main character. Cody, we don't see too awful much of in Clone Wars, since as we all know, the main Legion that we focus on in Clone Wars is the 501st. But 212th is right there as secondary Legion we focus on. We get plenty of moments. Cody and Rex are in my top 5 of clone duos. I mean, they're up there with Echo and Fives, Jesse and Kix, things like that. Definitely a great duo. He is, even though he is based off Revenge of the Sith, he'll fit in with any figures that were made in Clone Wars style. Because something the Black Series does do is like Echo, that figure, and I have a Clone Wars Echo, and Clone Wars Anakin. They're still realistic looking. The Clone Wars Echo still looks like Tamar Morrison, and the Clone Wars Anakin still looks like Hayden Christensen. They still do make their animated figures look like the actual real-life actors who portrayed them. And with figures like Asajj Ventress, who's never had a real-life actor portray them, she still looks like a real person, and not with that animated style. So you don't just get that cheap looking, oh, it's anime, it doesn't look realistic, you can't fit in with it in my photography. Since me, myself, I do like to photograph my Black Series. Trust me, I have my fair share of karma from r/Black Series. I'm just going to pose him against the wall. Let's talk about the blaster he has here. This is the DC-15A blaster, not to be confused with DC-15A rifle. It's very realistic. I don't know how much my camera is going to focus, but you can see all the grooves. It even has a trigger that you can barely see there. It has a little canister for the gas in the blaster. Black Series never disappoints with things like detail and all that. I mean, of course, they're not going to be like Hot Toys. Because you're not paying $600 for one figure. No, you're paying an average of, I'd say, $25. And when it comes to holding stuff, I find that this Cody does not have any problems. I mean, look at that. He's holding it. I'll shake him around a bunch. Still holding it just fine. That's his right hand. Time for his left, which honestly is a lot harder because as you see, it's a lot more of a tight, narrow grip. While this is a lot looser, so I'm not going to mess with it because I don't feel like breaking off a finger. And of course, you can buy Clone Wars Obi-Wan. That's what I would, if you're going to buy Cody, I'd recommend Clone Wars Obi-Wan just to kind of complete that 212th set. So you'll have the whole battalion, you'll have their commander, and you'll have their general. I mean, technically, at one point, Anakin was part of the 212th if you watch 2D Clone Wars. But they don't, there's no reason to buy him for 212th. You buy him for the 501st. Now, because this figure is very recent, I do not see us getting a new one in any time soon. He was just released a couple months back, maybe even already been a year. You want to buy figures like these, like Cody, who are very important named characters when they're released, just because the aftermarket prices are going to be insane. I mean, look at a Clone Wars Rex now. They average $100. If you want one, it's not going to be cheap. Look at a Commander Fox. He also averages $100, both of which are named clones. Now, I'd argue that Rex is because he's more of an important character, and Fox is because he's more of a not very bought character, so less demand, more price. But yeah, that concludes my review for Black Series Commander Cody. So, see ya.